This is Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist, and I'm going to share my arrangement of the Old Hundredth, or the Doxology. I'll play through it first, and then we'll talk about it. It was a little rough, but we'll talk about this arrangement. And there's a lot to talk about. This may be a long video. It was interesting that I had forgotten about this piece since I arranged it 9 years ago. I did it, and I even forgot arranging it. I noticed on my website, I clicked the music and played through it, and I thought it was delightful. And but I couldn't remember ever playing it. And then I read the note on the score exchange thing, and I did it as a exercise in a class I taught at St. Cecilia Institute. That's our Archdiocese music school. And for a year or two, I taught a class in liturgical guitar, and then there just didn't seem to be any interest in it, so I haven't taught it in years. But I was trying to teach my students to come up with their own arrangements. And if you go to the Score Exchange website, and you'll find a link down below, like General Worship and that. Go to the one for St. Cecilia Institute, and then you'll find a link for a sheet of music called Make Your Own Hundredth, I think it's called. And that has the melody line and the chords. And on there, it was a tip off to how I came up with this. I told my students to write out their own arrangement, and that I would try and do one during the week, and we'll compare them. And that's the last I ever remember this. So anyway, there's some good things in this. So the first verse is done in block chord style, which I tend to stay away from. I don't really like block chords, but certain songs, it works very well. Now, to play block chords, you have to have your chord changes in the first position here really down well, so you can make them quickly, because otherwise you won't be able to get it legato. So it's just open position or first position chords here. Let's start with it. The C, and C, G, A minor, E minor. And what we're doing, the melody line is all encased in the chords themselves. So the melody, right there, and so in the C, it's the melody notes on the second string, and then again on the second string. On the G, it's on the second string. On the A minor, now I only do a 3-note chord, it's on the third string. And on the E minor, it's on the third string. So I have to move my right hand. Normally, my right hand, the third finger is on the first string. but I have to shift my right hand down depending on what melody, what string the melody line is on, or the melody note is on. So like on the first chord, my third finger is playing the second string. Still on the second. Now, 3-note chord here, I play the melody with my second finger, and then I drop down on the E minor. I shift my hand and I put my third finger on the on the third string, and then the A minor, G, and C. And so you just have to, depending on where it needs to be, and you can see those strings real clear in the tablature. Now, another thing on this is a matter of style. First is how do you play a block chord and get the melody out? What's the balance? Because you're playing 4 notes at once. The ear is going to want to tune in on that melody note. You can help it do that by the way you pluck the chord. So, like I've got, on that, just do the C chord here. I've got my thumb on the 5th string, first finger on the 4th, second on the 3rd, third finger on the 2nd string. Now if I pluck them all evenly, that's not bad balance, but I can pluck them evenly, and I can, on my 3rd finger, I can bring it even harder. So it's the one that's playing the melody note. So when I'm plucking, I put more emphasis on the 3rd finger. And if you're watching my hand as it closes, as the hand closes to a fist, the 3rd finger is the one that's actually coming down and touching the palm, because it's striking so hard, and these two are just a regular pluck, but the 3rd finger is really hammering it. Or whichever finger's playing the melody. Like for example, on that A minor chord, I'm just using 3 fingers. So in that case, I bring my 2nd finger down. Bum. So that's a little tip you can, from the classical world there, on how to do that. So, and then the other thing is when to arpeggiate the chord and when to play it straight. And I always refer to it as rolling the chord, because instead of you can play it straight, all 4 at once, or you can roll it. And that's easy for me because I was that kid that could, on the desk, drive everybody crazy. So I'm good at rolling my fingers. Some people it doesn't come real natural for, but you can work on that by doing the arpeggio, thumb 1, 2, 3, thumb 1. Pretty soon it becomes a roll. So, and then when to roll and when not to roll, that's the question. And I always roll too much. I'm prone to rolling everything, and it's to a fault. So on this one, let's say we start out with the first chord just straight because we want to make a strong entrance. And then all the quarter notes, I think I would probably play straight. Maybe one I wouldn't, but. Roll some of the half notes. Maybe I didn't roll that one. Roll that one. Straight. Maybe roll that, then roll, and roll. I roll too much, okay? A minors, straight. Roll that one for sure. Straight, roll, roll, straight. And I might roll this D minor because it kind of take, and then play the C straight. Maybe a roll there, a quick roll, and then a more open roll. And then going into the finger picking part here. And this is the part that really intrigues me. I did some nice things in here that I didn't discover till 9 years afterwards. So starting on that last note in the second line, the C. So on the last video I did on Abide With Me, I talked about phrasing and identifying important notes and knowing where you're going in a phrase. So here I've got, you start out slow and there's kind of an accelerando or a little speeding up in here. That's where I want to end up. Then, wait, so let's try that again. So that was measure 30, 40, and 15. And then the next phrase starts in the middle of measure 15 there. So we'll come off the first phrase. Now new phrase. So, a couple of things. Musically, when the melody goes up, volume usually goes up. When melody goes down, volume decreases. So you would do a crescendo, getting louder as the melody's rising, and a decrescendo as the melody softens. That's just general style. And so there's a lot of that in this. So it almost, it's accelerating, but it's kind of getting a little quiet. It's nice and strong. And then get louder. Build, get soft. Softer because it's going down. Soft. Getting louder. Now right here you're going down, but you're starting on that F. So it bum bum bum, and so it's getting more, it's crescendoing on the F to the G, and then you get down to the last line, the A minor there. That's a substitution for the one chord, and you want to kind of soften off on that, and to get ready for that final phrase. And on this last phrase, you can make, it's tricky to make this work, but I kind of retard when so I'm coming into measure 21 here. Nice and strong here. Missed a note there, but so measure, let's go to the last measure of the next last line, measure 20. And I don't know. It was tricky for me to get that right when I was trying to play it. At first I didn't like what I did on the G chord there in measure 21. But then when I made it into a bit of a retardando, and then gradually accelerated, slow down again, because you're going to the ending. Then it worked for me. It felt musical, and I thought, well, that must have been what I was driving at years ago. So it's a nice arrangement. I make a note here just above measure 13. Said, consider adding an improvisatory section between verses. The last verse itself, or lends itself nicely to free rhythmical interpretation. So on the last verse, that that's what I just did. And you heard the rhythmical interpretation, or the slowing down, the speeding up, and all of that. At the time, there was a note on the score exchange. When you see the sheet music, read the note that I wrote up there about, at the time I was reading, I think, Sing to the Lord or something, and talked about accompanists using improvisation, and that the church has a tradition of that. But it has to be worthy improvisation. It can't just be playing, notes for background music. It should take you somewhere. So I'm actually thinking of working this up to record it in my. I'm thinking about another CD next year of guitar, and I think this might be on it if I can come up with a good improvisation. So anyway, this is the old 100th. Have some fun with this, and that's all I have for it, I think, for today. So this is Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist. Look for more arrangements on my website, liturgicalguitarist.com. I pray God blesses your playing, and I wish you peace.